All right, we are now recording. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brooke McDonald. Take it away, Brooke.
Well, thank you, Jamie, for all your help with this, and welcome everyone. My name is Brooke McDonald. I'm the president and CEO for the Conservation Foundation, and we're a very proud member of the DuPage Monarch Project. This coalition was formed in 2015. It includes us, the Conservation Foundation, the DuPage County Forest Preserve District, the River Prairie Group chapter of the Sierra Club, and the Wild Ones of DuPage County. And so the purpose of this coalition and this effort is to get more pollinator habitat on the ground, particularly the kind of pollinator habitat that is friendly to our megafauna monarch butterflies. And so I think anytime when you talk about the monarch butterfly, most everyone knows what it is. And many people are beginning to learn that the monarch needs a lot of help. So, when we try to attract monarch butterflies, we have to plant more than milkweed, but obviously milkweed is the key ingredient to that. But having a nice diverse selection of pollinator plants in our pollinator gardens and on the landscape is very important. One of the reasons that we were excited to join in is because this fits perfectly with our conservation at home and conservation at work programs. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that. We started about 10 or 15 years ago a push to get more native plants on the landscape to help attract nature, for water conservation, and just for good soil management and for sustainability. We believe that sustainable landscapes have a lot of good positive environmental benefits. So we were very excited to get involved. Many of you know Jim Kleinwachter on our staff. He is our representative from the Conservation Foundation on the DuPage Monarch Project Committee. I don't know if Jim's on here or not, but Jim, if you are, thank you. Good job. All you guys are doing a great job. And so before I turn it over, I feel like I'm amongst friends here with our friends at the Fox Valley Park District and the Naperville Park District. I want to congratulate all of them for their wonderful work, not just on this project, but really for everything you do. You guys are great partners with us and for many other organizations. You guys really are leaders in many aspects of parks and recreation, but also for environmental sustainability projects that you guys work on. So thank you for being awesome. And I'm going to turn it over to Anna Maria from the DuPage County Forest Preserve District.
Thanks very much, Brooke. My name's Anna Marie Dorgan. I am Director of Community Engagement Services with the Forest Preserve District, and I represent the district with the DuPage Monarch Project, which we're very proud to be a part of. I just had a couple of things I wanted to point out. In the mid-1900s, the undeveloped land in DuPage County was the norm and not the exception. But for the last 100 years now, the Forest Preserve has been acquiring and restoring land in DuPage County. Today, with the prairies, woodlands, and wetlands equating to approximately 13% of the county, our work to restore natural areas, protect and propagate endangered species, rehabilitate native wildlife, and educate the residents of DuPage County about pollinators and monarchs in particular really supports the goals of the DuPage Monarch Project. Our goal is to provide those public opportunities, create more habitat for monarchs and other pollinators that are truly critical to the health of our planet. I'm very fond of a phrase, invisible ecosystem, in reference to pollinators. So with nearly 26,000 acres, the forest preserves offer the largest volume of habitat for this invisible ecosystem to thrive in DuPage County. So as stewards dedicated to protecting the habitat, the district is proud to be a partner of the DuPage Monarch Project. We're grateful for all the municipalities and the residents that echo our commitment. And with more than 900,000 residents, DuPage County is comprised of a multitude of communities. We're not just one. However, much like the DuPage Monarch Project tagline, together we are communities protecting pollinators. Thank you.
Great, Anna Marie, thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Rich Whitney from the Wild Ones of DuPage. Rich? You're on mute, Rich.
How about that? Can you hear me now? Thanks, Brooke. I'm Rich Whitney, and I'm a member of the local chapter of Wild Ones, Native Plants, Natural Landscapes. The name of our chapter is Greater DuPage Wild Ones, and we are one of 60 chapters across the country. We promote the preservation and restoration of native plant communities 1 yard at a time. About 8 years ago, the National Wild Ones joined with Monarch Joint Venture and Monarch Watch to help monarchs and the migration. Local chapters were asked to spread the word about the plight of the monarchs and to promote the planting of milkweed. The Greater DuPage chapter is proud to be a member of the DuPage Monarch Project. To learn more about our Wild Ones chapter, please visit dupage.wildones.org on the internet. Thank you for your attention and congratulations to today's honorees.
I always forget to unmute myself. It seems like it takes me forever. Well, it's my honor now to introduce my longtime friend from Warrenville, representing the River Prairie Group, a chapter of the Sierra Club, Connie Schmidt.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here to celebrate monarchs with you and to celebrate the great accomplishments of these two organizations. First, I'm going to give you just a quick overview of the Sierra Club. I imagine most of you are familiar with us, but here's a little background. It's a national organization. There are 63 chapters across the United States. There's one in Puerto Rico, there are 7 in California, so it's a little more than just one per state. But Illinois is a chapter, and then within Illinois, we have 14 groups, and the River Prairie Group is the name of the DuPage chapter. So we have our own executive committee and our own governing body that work on a lot of issues, many passions. We work on clean energy, we monitor the rivers and streams. We actually partner with the DuPage River Salt Creek Work Group, which is affiliated with the Conservation Foundation as well. We work on habitat restoration and we take outings. We want to get you out. So we do some of the same things as Anna Marie does with the Forest Preserve as well. One of our slogans, or something that is familiar to the Sierra Club, is think global, but act local. And we do that in many different areas. We have a restoration area that we support that's owned by the Forest Preserve, but we support the special aid in Glacial Ridge Forest Preserve, a very special habitat. Another local thing that we're doing is the DuPage Monarch Project. And I'll tell you a lot more details on that in just a moment. But just to tell you a little bit more about Sierra Club, one of my favorite things is that we do try to network and go small from our local groups. But we also, as I said, there's 14 groups in Illinois. So many of those groups also have a monarch team. And those monarch teams meet together with a statewide Illinois monarch team for the Sierra Club. And fortunately, we have a volunteer on that team who networks us with an organization called the Illinois Monarch Project. Now that is hosted by the IDNR, the Field Museum, Brookfield Zoo, and a number of other very important organizations. So although we are a small organization working locally here, we are also contributing to a very big project across all of Illinois and regionally across the eastern part of the United States. The goal, we are networked nationally as well with Monarch Watch, which is an organization, I think Rich mentioned it before too. They're really encouraging us to have way stations that are registered. So there's a database of where these good habitats are being planted across the United States. Scientists from Monarch Watch did a study, and they came up with the decision that in order to save the species, we need to plant over 1 billion stems of milkweed in the upcoming years. Well, the DuPage Monarch Project, or Illinois Monarch Project, took a look at that number and said, well, Illinois needs to do their part. We need 150 stems of milkweed by 2038. That's a huge effort, but with all this help that we've got going on, I think it's very likely we're going to be able to do this. I'm grateful that Lonnie Morris, who is our coordinator, a volunteer from the River Prairie Group of the Sierra Club, she said, in order to start the DuPage Monarch Project and to do it well, we need to network the premier environmental groups in DuPage County. So in no order other than alphabetical, we have, of course, the Forest Preserve District of DuPage, the River Prairie Group of Sierra Club, the Conservation Foundation, and the Wild Ones Greater DuPage chapter. So I'm so thrilled that all these groups are working together to do these things for you. And then also I will tell you what the efforts are for the DuPage Monarch Project. Bringing it nationally to statewide to county, the DuPage Monarch Project is going to cities and villages and park districts and saying, why don't you guys sign a resolution so that you can get your entity to do what they can to encourage healthy habitats and healthy planting practices, so we too can do more on the local front. And these resolutions, we currently have 22 signatories, which is really exciting, of cities and park districts and villages within DuPage. They can personalize these resolutions and make them specific to their communities and more meaningful. We encourage them that they are planting milkweed. We encourage that they avoid plants that have been treated with neonicotinoids, dangerous chemicals for pollinators. We encourage them to ban insecticides during the monarch breeding season. And we encourage them to train their residents to do the same as what they're doing on their public ways. So now we're taking it from the county to the villages to the individual homes, which I think is the really beautiful way that we can all be involved in this important effort. So I've given you a little information on the Sierra Club and on the DuPage Monarch Project. We are here because we have some awards coming up. And our awards are named for two outstanding women. And I want to just give you a brief background on them. Let me check my sound. Can you guys hear me okay? Somebody give me a thumbs up just to make sure. I'm talking on and on. I just thought I should double check. Thank you, Brooke. So I want to tell you just a little bit about Jane Fowler and Pat Miller. Let's start with Pat. Pat is a longtime advocate for pollinators and healthy gardens. I see the people I can see on the screen are smiling because when you mention monarchs in DuPage County, you usually think about Pat Miller, who's made a huge impact here. She has been doing presentations for Wild Ones and other groups for many, many years. She has impressive credentials after her name. She's not just a talker. She is a Monarch Watch conservation specialist. She is a master gardener, a master naturalist, and most fun, the Chicago Tribune has dubbed her Queen of the Monarchs. So that is Pat. And now we have Jane Fowler. Jane Fowler comes a little bit from the Sierra Club. She was a Sierra Club activist as well, but Jane had so many interests and is a member of other groups as well. She is, well, let's just start. In 2005, Jane was visiting a friend down in Kansas. And while she was there, she became aware of an organization that was doing some research and conservation, and Chip Taylor, who is the founder of Monarch Watch, that's the national group. And Chip is the one who started the way station program. When Jane came back to Illinois in DuPage County, she said, I think I can make my garden more friendly to habitat and for more friendly habitat for pollinators. And she did, with all the knowledge that she had. It was not that tricky to plant more milkweed, make sure she had some fall blooming plants for soaking up that energy before they start their migration south. So she did it for herself. And my understanding is that Jane and Pat talked together and said, you know, I bet if we work together, we can register our yards. And let's make a goal within 1 year. Let's see if we can register 10 more yards in DuPage County on the National Registry for Way Stations. They were successful. They did. That was in 2006. Well, by 2017, there were 241 yards registered. By 2021, this year now, our coordinator Lonnie Morris did some research for me, and we now have 437 way stations registered in DuPage. I'll just put a little plug here. If any of you out there have gardens and they're not registered, it's not that difficult to do. And you add to the numbers, and if you choose to have a sign that you are registered, you're advertising to your neighbors, hey, look what you can do. They'll ask you about it, and it's a good way of sharing why you do the good practices that you do. This kind of mirrors the Conservation Foundation project of having conservation at home in their yards. So I'm going to end talking about the two wonderful ladies with a little quote that I found that Pat Miller said, and I think it helps us all feel empowered with what we can do. She said, "We make choices every day, what we wear, what to eat for breakfast, whether or not to squish a bug. We have so much power in our everyday choices. Don't ever forget how much power you have to change things." So thank you, Pat and Jane, for your contributions. And now we're going to talk about the two park districts who have outstanding achievements for monarch conservation here in DuPage County. We have an award for habitat, healthy environments, ability for many creatures to thrive, and we have an award for engagement, getting hands-on experience, having the community involved in the decision-making and the activities of planting the gardens. So let's start with our Habitat Award. I want to congratulate the Jane Fowler Habitat Award is given to the Fox Valley Park District for outstanding contributions to healthy habitats. Briefly, and I hope I don't take too much of what the remarks you fellows are going to say, but I will say we chose you because in 2020, you planted over 19 acres of healthy pollinator habitat. Some projects were small and targeted, maybe targeting parts of bigger projects, but they were a small enhanced garden. Some were actually tearing up turf grass and completely rehabbing it over to native plantings. We're so grateful that you planted such a diverse list of species, several kinds of milkweed, native forbs, grasses, shrubs, a variety of healthy plants for the monarchs and all pollinators and probably all critters to live in happily. The fall plants are just as important as I mentioned earlier because we want to have nectaring possibility for the monarchs to get ready to go south for their big migration. And sometimes when you're planting a garden, you don't think about this, but we're really pleased with the maintenance plan that the folks at Fox Valley Park District have put together. They're controlling invasives, they're doing prescribed burns, and many other healthy practices to keep these gardens growing forever and ever. So I'm going to stop talking for you all and turn it over. We're going to invite Jim Pilmer and Jeff Palmquist to say a few words on behalf of the wonderful Fox Valley Park District. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Connie. I'm Jim Pilmer. I'm the Executive Director of the Fox Valley Park District, and I want to thank the DuPage Monarch Project very much for this beautiful award that we've shared with our commissioners. I'm with Jeff Palmquist today. He's our Director of Planning. The Fox Valley Park District covers 65 square miles in Kane, DuPage, Will, and in Kendall counties. We really appreciate all that you're doing as stewards for this and bringing it forward. The pollinator habitat creation and enhancement is a top priority for our Fox Valley Park District Board of Commissioners, and it's very consistent with their pillars of conservation and environmental stewardship. I will have to go back actually into the winter of 2016. I had never had met Lonnie Morris. She called one day. I ended up with the phone call and brought Director Palmquist in, and we continued that relationship ever since. I had to share with Lonnie that a portion of the Fox Valley Park District is in DuPage County, and we would have the furthest west project that would be in the county. And so it was with great delight to visit with Lonnie and then follow through with the stewardship that you all do in that regards. The Fox Valley Park District builds on cultures of evidence. Every year we ask commissioners to bring ideas forward to the district, which we incorporate into our budget and then we implement into our best practices. I want to specifically recognize Fox Valley Park District Commissioner Holly Scholes of DuPage County. Holly is completing her 4th year on the board. She'll be retiring on May 1st. But the value of pollinator habitat and the need to enhance and expand the habitat has been a very important environmental goal of hers. And she's not leaving DuPage County. She'll still be here. And that's why I would like to recognize her for driving our staff to make sure we accomplish these goals. We're very pleased that the award recognizes and validates our best practices approach in funding, implementing, and the management of the habitat. Since the end of 2019, the Fox Valley Park District has been very active in creating and enhancing pollinator habitats. The habitat sites now total 19.3 acres, range in a scale from very small targeted enhancements to very large scale turf to habitat conversions. The new habitat has been partially funded through a total of $20,000 in grants received by the Park District for the work that was done in 2020. Our projects are led by a very talented staff, most notably the Director of Operations, John Kramer, Aaron Reinhardt, our Superintendent of Golf and Turf Management, Helen Wolfo, our Supervisor of Horticulture. The habitat sites highlighted in our award application are located throughout the 65 Miles District at Stewart Sports Complex, Wheatlands Community Park, South Spring Lake, New Haven Park, Cole Center, and the Vaughn Athletic Center. Much like I say is that we like to build on cultures of evidence. We're very proud to have many of these sites be recognized by the Conservation Foundation as conservation at work, and we are now extremely proud to put the DuPage Monarch Project banner right up alongside the Conservation Foundation. So thank you for all that you do in the stewardship of our lands, and we are just proud to be a recognized partner with you in that regards. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Jim, you're gonna wave, Jim?
Jeff, there.
Or Jeff, yeah. Well, thank you. We're so grateful for you, what you've done, and we congratulate you on your great success. And now I want to welcome and celebrate the Naperville Park District with the Pat Miller Community Award. And the difference here is they also have a 54-year history of restoration, wetlands, prairie, a number of different sites. But what we're especially celebrating today with the Pat Miller Award is the commitment to getting feedback and working with community members. And they've done this through their planning, going out to homeowners association and residents groups and asking opinions as plans are made for the following year. They also allow volunteers to get in there, roll up their sleeves and get involved in planting and weeding and maintenance. And some examples would be scout groups, corporate groups, some church groups, service organizations, and they have done all types of projects with them. One of the ones I read about, I thought it was such a great idea because it tells you what you can do as a group and then how you can take these good practices you're learning with the group home to your own property and do them there. And that is when volunteers worked with Midwest Grows Green, and they did a dandelion pull at Knock Knolls Park. And it showed natural land maintenance and the difference you can make when you don't use chemicals. You can still make a great project and have great success. So accepting the award today for Naperville Park District, we have Angelique Harshman. Angelique is the director of the Knock Knolls Nature Center. And I'm so happy to introduce you and have a few remarks from you. And you have to unmute first. Angelique, you have to unmute yourself. Sorry.
Thank you, Connie. All right, I don't know if everybody can see our award here because of my background, but well, thank you so much for the honor of being recognized with a Pat Miller Community Engagement Award at the Naperville Park District. As you kind of alluded to, we're committed to taking care of the environment and involving the community each step of the way. And right next to me, you can see one of our campers from last year's summer camp holding a milkweed pod and getting ready to release that into the air and help with creating more habitat. We want to also thank the DuPage Monarch Project for bringing the plight of the monarch butterflies to our attention in 2016. And that's when we signed a monarch resolution to support monarch habitat in our parks. And of course, that's for other pollinators as well. And, you know, our core values as a park district include environmental education, sustainability, and stewardship. So that goes right along with, you know, incorporating and the community and having folks help us along the way. Since the time of the resolution in 2016, we've added 5 monarch way stations and over 10 acres of pollinator plants. So not just the milkweed, but as you mentioned, some of the types of nectaring plants that they need as well in the fall. And in 2016, the Knock Knolls Nature Center, our staff here, we started to raise monarchs and release them. And we always have them on exhibit for the public to see those different life stages of the butterflies. And if there happens to be one that's just emerged, an adult, and they're ready to go, we have the public who are just happen to be there that day help us release them. We've raised and released over 175 monarchs since we started in 2016. In 2017, we held a very popular fall festival about monarchs, our Monarch Festival. Over 700 people attended. We had games and crafts, live butterfly releases, demonstrations, free monarch seeds, and this was in partnership with other local conservation organizations, including the DuPage Monarch Project. It was, people keep asking about that. When are you going to hold your next one? We really love working with volunteers. As you mentioned, that dandelion pole at Knock Park. We're proud of all the work they've done to help us plant and maintain areas. And we really look forward to continuing, you know, to enrich the habitat for monarchs and other pollinators in the park district and all our parks. And we thank you for your partnership and your inspiration.
You're welcome. I'm going to turn it over to Brooke, who's going to make final remarks.
Well, thank you to all of you. And again, congratulations to the Fox Valley Park District and Angelique and the Naperville Park District. Now, I can look out my window right here and I can see Angelique's Nature Center right from my window here at the McDonald Farm. We're right across the street. So I keep my eye on Angelique and I can tell you she does a lot of good things over there. So congratulations again. I also want to thank and recognize all the partners again, the DuPage County Forest Preserve District, Sierra Club, and the Wild Ones. And I also want to acknowledge Lonnie Morris. I know I see Lonnie's name on the screen. I don't know if she's hiding or what, but Lonnie deserves a lot of credit for the success of this project in DuPage County. So I want to make sure that we acknowledge the all the hard work that she's put into this to make it a success. You know, a lot of people believe that if they don't do something big, they don't make a difference. And I want to dispel that myth. I've heard people say that they've had milkweeds just sort of pop up randomly in their yards. They didn't plant them, just maybe a few, and the monarchs find them. It's sort of imagine if you did it on purpose, you know, what would happen and how that would help the monarchs. We have all these wonderful parks and forest preserves throughout DuPage County that have large expanses of restored habitat. that monarchs and other pollinators need, monarchs in particular, as they migrate through. But don't think that the monarchs don't need the small little pieces in between the big parks and forest preserves. What you do in your yard, your church, your school, your place of business, regardless of the size, is important. You know, we call those stepping stone habitats. They're like rest stops for monarchs on their way when they're migrating up and down from Mexico up into this area. So whether it be through the Conservation at Home program, the Monarch Way Station, regardless, your little monarch and pollinator habitats in your yard, regardless of the size, those are important. And these monarchs need those to feed as they go from larger habitats to another. So we want to encourage everyone to get involved in this project. Do what you can, start small, you can grow from there if you want. And I want to thank the Naperville Park District and the Fox Valley Park District again for being great models of how to move this mission forward. So on behalf of the partnership, thank you to everyone that joined us today, and enjoy this beautiful snowy day outside. I don't think the sun's going to come out, but that's okay. The snow really looks pretty out there. So you all have a great rest of the week. Thank you.
Jeff, thanks a lot. Nice job. Good job. So I made a bunch of notes and I get Jamie and one.
Hey, Jim.